Imagine a world where the food on your plate not only nourishes your body, but also protects the planet. This isn't just a dream, it's becoming a global conversation, and Australia might be next to join this transformative movement. But here's where it gets controversial. Should dietary guidelines focus solely on human health, or should they also consider the environmental footprint of our food choices? As Australia revises its dietary recommendations, all eyes are on whether sustainability will take center stage. For many Australians, their first encounter with official dietary advice was the iconic food pyramid. Remember that structure? It placed fruits, vegetables, and carbohydrates at the base, while fats and sugars perched precariously at the top. Over time, though, this pyramid evolved. In recent years, it transformed into what we now call the healthy eating plate, a visual guide designed to make healthy eating more intuitive. However, this plate is rooted in guidelines from 2013, which are overdue for an update. Nutrition science has advanced significantly since then, and experts are currently reworking these guidelines to reflect the latest findings. The revised version is expected to roll out next year, and whispers suggest that environmental concerns might play a role. To understand what could be coming, it helps to look beyond our borders. Dietary guidelines worldwide have started addressing more than just personal health. They're increasingly factoring in the planet's well-being too. For instance, producing certain foods, like red meat, tends to have a much larger environmental impact compared to others. From greenhouse gas emissions to land degradation and biodiversity loss, the ecological cost of some dietary staples is staggering. One groundbreaking example is the Planetary health diet, introduced by the EAT-Lancet Commission in 2019. This framework isn't about banning burgers or steak entirely, but encourages a shift toward plant-based eating patterns. Think whole grains, fruits, vegetables, nuts, legumes, and yes, even moderate amounts of animal products. Under this model, weekly red meat consumption is capped at around 98 grams. To put that into perspective, Jessica Danaher, a dietitian and nutrition scientist from RMIT University, explains. That's roughly 1/3 of what the current Australian Guide to Healthy Eating recommends. Other countries are already adopting similar approaches. Denmark's 2020 dietary guidelines emphasize climate-friendly eating habits, urging people to reduce meat intake and prioritize fish and legumes instead. Likewise, Nordic nations and New Zealand have woven sustainability principles directly into their nutritional advice. Curiously, however, not everyone is on board. Norway's guidelines, though otherwise comparable to Denmark's, don't mention the environment at all. Instead, they focus on enjoying meals mindfully, a reminder that opinions on this topic can vary widely. So, will Australia follow suit and integrate planetary health into its updated guidelines? Dr. Danaher believes it's quite possible. She suggests that there may be a shift toward viewing health through a broader lens, one that encompasses both individual wellness and environmental responsibility. We're moving away from purely clinical perspectives, she says, and embracing a more holistic approach. But before diving deeper into potential changes, let's revisit what the current Australian dietary guidelines entail. These aren't just random suggestions. They're evidence-based recommendations covering everything from breastfeeding and food safety to promoting a balanced diet rich in variety. Visually, they're represented by the Australian Guide to Healthy Eating plate, divided into 5 key food groups. Grains occupy about 1/3 of the plate, followed closely by vegetables and legumes. The remaining portions are allocated to fruits, lean proteins, and dairy, or suitable alternatives. Foods like chips, chocolate, cream, and soft drinks fall under the category of discretionary items, foods meant to be consumed occasionally and sparingly. Dr. Danaher emphasizes that the plate isn't meant to dictate every meal, but rather serve as a flexible template for overall dietary balance. For example, if you indulge in a slice of pie at a weekend football game, that counts as 1 serving of discretionary food. While the guidelines recommend no more than 2 servings daily, Dr. Danaher reassures us that occasional indulgences are okay, as long as they don't become daily habits. After all, according to data from the Australian Bureau of Statistics, only 4.2% of adults met the recommended targets for both fruit and vegetable intake in 2022. That statistic might sound disheartening, but Dr. Danaher reminds us that these guidelines aren't rigid rules, they're tools to guide healthier choices. It's called the Australian Guide to Healthy Eating, not the Australian Rulebook, she quips. Ultimately, the goal is to inspire a balanced, varied, and mindful approach to nutrition. As discussions continue about updating Australia's dietary guidelines, one question remains: should environmental sustainability be part of the equation? Advocates argue that ignoring the planet's health risks undermining human health in the long run. Critics, however, worry that adding complexity to dietary advice could confuse consumers. What do you think? Should our plates reflect the needs of both people and the planet? Share your thoughts in the comments below.